Patrick Scoot.
Now the party can begin. Ryan's here.
Ready?
Yeah.
So we're standing outside the Speaker's office. Joe Straus announced this morning that he will not seek re-election to the House or to the speakership. That's a surprise. He's been in office for 5 terms. That ties Pete Laney and Gib Lewis. Straus had previously said he was going to run for re-election and go for a 6th term. So this one's a shocker. We'll find out what he says as soon as we go in here in just a minute. Okay. Bada bing, bada boom.
Right.
That won't last, we know that.
Come on in. Why don't we put the speaker there and you all can kind of,
Okay. Crowd around.
yeah.
Now you gotta rig me up.
We can probably hold it. Unless
Okay.
you want like
No.
80 mics on
No,
it.
I really would be happy not to. Good morning. I thought everybody was with Trump today.
This way up and down.
No, I'm not.
Far away.
No questions? We're done. Yeah, can you get a little closer?
Any questions?
All right, so why did you decide that you're not going to run for re-election to the House?
I finally took my own advice that I give to other members when they come to me at the end of a session and say that they're thinking about not running again or trying to decide to run again. And I always tell them, don't make a decision today. Go home and get connected to your community and get connected with your family and your business and give it some thought. And over the last couple of months, I've done that myself. And after a long and contentious session and a long summer here, I just came to the conclusion that after 5 terms, which is a really long time to serve as Speaker, and I've been privileged to be given that authority 5 times, but that it really was a good time today to, as hopefully a thoughtful leader who's accumulated a fair amount of power, which one does in this position over a period of time, that a confident leader knows when it's time to give it back. And I feel really good about the last year or so when I've been able to speak for myself about issues that I care about that aren't necessarily every member of the legislature's priority. And the reception I've gotten as I've been more outspoken has been really strong and really positive. And so I want to do more of that, find other ways to serve this state, always being grateful for the opportunities that I've had here and proud of our record here. But there comes a time when someone ought to come to the conclusion that it's enough in one place. And 5 terms is a long time, and I'm really proud that I'm able to walk out of this job. First time in decades that a Speaker has been able to leave this office, on his own terms. And so I feel good about that, and I feel good about the culture that we've built in the House. I'm proud of our record, and I think the time is right for me. I know it is for my family, and I'm excited about future opportunities.
A good lead-in is
Yeah.
what's next.
Well, immediately what's next is that I will be serving 14 months of this term, the remaining 14 months. And if you all haven't noticed, there's primary elections coming up in March. And as the Speaker of the House, I will continue to do what I've always done, and that is to support responsible Republicans who face challenges in the primary. And I can be a pretty aggressive fundraiser, which I will continue to do on their behalf without having to worry about my own, my own fortunes at home, which fortunately continue to be very strong. That's another reason why this whole process, after doing this 5 times, and certain groups you're aware of are doing the same thing again for the 6th time. And at some point it becomes so repetitive that what I needed to do is go home and see, take stock of how things are back home in the district, and they're very strong, maybe stronger than ever, especially after the summer we had. The response I've gotten is overwhelmingly positive, which again indicates to me that it's the right time to leave this job. Well, you know, things are looking good and strong.
Do you think stepping aside makes it easier for rational Republicans to survive their primaries?
I think that rational Republicans will always survive their primaries just as they always have. It's a myth that you have to be crazy to win a Republican primary for the Texas House. People know House members. We come from local communities where people really know us. We are neighbors. Our constituents are our neighbors. And, you know, a few don't win, as always, but they'll get reelected in very strong numbers, and they should. They've got a good story to tell. I look forward to telling that story with them. But looking back over the last few cycles, my friends have done really, really well. So whether they do better or worse without me on the ballot, I think is immaterial. I'm a House member like they are. My name ID is not even all that high, which, you know, that brings me back to earth once in a while when I see that. But I think they're going to do just fine, and I'll be there with them. And responsible Republicans will have a good year at the House level.
You want to run for another? You want to run for another public office?
Any other office we run in?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not one to close doors. And I have to tell you, as I've traveled the state, speaking out on issues that I think are important to our economy and important to most people, not just Republicans, but most Texans who want to see our economy and opportunities grow and do things that attract jobs and not chase them away. The response I'm getting is very, very strong. And I've had people on a daily basis suggest that I run for another office. I don't have plans to do that. But I will be looking forward to speaking out more and more on issues that I think are important to most people. And what that leads to, we'll have to see. But I think there is a hunger for a Republican voice out there that stresses issues that maybe haven't gotten enough attention around the Capitol the last few years.
What do you want to say to the people who look at you as, you know, the main voice against some of this controversial bills that come through?
Well, I think of myself as a main voice for, you know, constructive issues that people really want to see us make progress on in Texas, from pre-kindergarten through 12 in public education and in higher education. We've done a lot of good things in water policy, funding the water plan for the first time finally after decades of neglect. Transportation, we've done some good things. So those types of issues, bread and butter issues that are important to people, is what I want to continue to be talking about. Some of the other ideas that I didn't think were the best, you know, if I played a role in keeping them from happening, some people appreciate that. But that's not really what I come here for. I come here to try to work on things that we can do that are good for Texas and that are responsible and that will help this state grow in ways that I believe it ought to.
What has changed since May? What has
Pardon me?
changed since May when you said that you were going to run for re-election?
Well, you know, I think everyone who hasn't made the decision not to is running. I mean, I was running in May. And my philosophy is you're running until you're not. But after reflection and seeing that this is just another cycle, I could do it. I have no doubt that the support back home is strong and the support among the members is deep. But that just made me realize that it's the time, it's the right time. You know, don't do it until you can't. You know, I think more people ought to make a decision like I did. You know, give it up when you don't have to.
Will you endorse?
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Will you endorse someone for speaker?
Oh, I won't be here to vote for the next speaker.
But ahead of time, will you make your wishes known or your
You know,
thoughts?
I don't think it's appropriate for people who aren't members in the next session of the legislature to really register much of an opinion on that. That's a decision for House members who will be seated in the next session. So I don't think I'll be having much to say about that.
What about the successor in your district?
Indicated he was going to find people to run
Yeah.
for House who would oppose you for speaker.
Yeah.
Would that give you greater prompt to want to run for governor, perhaps?
Well, some people have suggested it. I haven't, you know, I remember back to 2009, it wasn't really my ambition to run for speaker. It was a pretty unorthodox situation in an unconventional way. And I've tried to lead in unconventional ways in today's divided politics. And I've taken a lot of arrows for it because I try to bring people together. I do make no apology about working across party lines. I think we do our best work when we do that. I think Washington could learn a real lesson from the Texas House over the last few sessions when we are at our best. What's in the future for me? I don't know, but I do plan to be engaged. I do plan to be an active voice and find other ways to serve my state.
You're not ruling out a run for governor? You're not ruling out a run for governor?
Well, I don't have a plan today beyond helping other responsible Republicans in 2018. I don't think so, but you know, today's an announcement of what I won't be continuing more than it is an announcement of what I'll be doing in the future. And I look forward to having the time to talk to the people who have been very supportive of me around the state, which I haven't done yet today, to see what they think I ought to do and what they're willing to do with me. But whether I run for public office again or whether I can be a constructive voice and somebody with some influence, hopefully earned over years, I think you know, I can make an impact wherever it is, and that's what I'll try to do.
That sounded vaguely exploratory. Is there any chance you'll be on the 2018 ballot in some capacity?
You know, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But again, I really, you know, I've been spending my time thinking about the job I have. And even in past cycles, people have asked me if I would run for another office. And when you're in this office and you do it responsibly, you pay attention to the other members. You pay attention to the institution that you represent, that you've been given this authority to lead. And so I've never really had the time to think about what else I would do. But I'll have time to do that now.
If you step down,
probably not for 18, but.
With you stepping down, you think that the Freedom Caucus faction of the House will continue to grow?
I don't think the Freedom Caucus will grow. No, I don't. I think they're sort of self-limited. I can't imagine very many people wanting to identify with the way they practice politics. I don't think that's a constructive approach, and they're not, in my mind, the profile of respectful leadership that I look to support.
Last question. Do you think that the governor and the lieutenant governor created a political environment these past the regular and the special session that led to your decision? I mean, there was a lot of talk about your leadership style.
I'll look back at my time in the House, the 5 terms as Speaker, and even the session and a half I had before I was Speaker, and think about the outstanding leaders that I have worked with here, leaders in both parties, who've meant so much to the state, meant a lot to me. I'll be thinking a lot more about that than I will any dust-ups with statewiders who may on occasion let their emotions and their tempers get the best of them. That unfortunately happens from time to time.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Does it call you that Abbott and Carney and City has driven you to the sidelines?
You know, have you ever seen me golf?
What can we tell about it?
No, I feel really confident and really good about this decision. And going out with strength, going out with confidence, going out with victories, and going out with some time to make some plans for myself, I feel very, very good about. I think it's in many ways this position, while it's a great honor, it also can be sort of inhibiting. You know, you have a responsibility for 149 other members. So every decision I make, every statement I make, I have to think about other members. I'll be you know, free to speak my mind more as we go forward, and that appeals to me quite a bit.
We can do this all day. Let's not.
So can we.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Joe.
And ladies. I guess you stand back. Yes.
No, everybody has to leave, but especially.
Garen, I think, may have already apportioned it out to other people.
Can you come behind me?
That was one great idea.
I sent about 5 pictures.
That's the second one, I think. That is. The first one was going Can I get you? Yeah. Sorry, I was. Oh, yeah, you were. Yeah, we, hey, you're going to. No, I'm not. Don't worry.
Maybe I just want to see that ring.
I don't think, yeah, I mean, like I said, acting now is
Ready? Hold on, you probably don't want that. Are you going to leave that there? Okay. Tell me when. Hi, I'm Ross Ramsey. We're standing outside the Speaker's office. Joe Straus just told the press that he was, why he decided not to run for another term as Speaker or as a member of the House. He says he got away from the session a little bit. He took some time, breathed a little bit, spent some time with his family, with his businesses, with his constituents, and just decided now is the time to leave. He noted that most people don't leave the job voluntarily, which has certainly been true in the time that I've been here, and said that he thought he was handing the House over at a good time. So Joe Straus won't run again. He said a confident leader knows when it's time to give it back, and he's doing that. He also said that he will be serving the remainder of his 14 months in office, and said he'll spend much of his time between now and then helping other incumbent Republicans in the House defend themselves, first in the primaries and then in next year's general election. So Joe Straus is going to leave at the end of his current term, but he'll be in place until January of 2019. That's the news from the Capitol.